Hello everyone! Foundation Season 3, Episode 8 is here. And honestly, this one was a roller coaster. Betrayals, power struggles, secrets revealed, and an execution that might not be what it seems. It's safe to say this episode pushed the storylines of the Mule, Gaal, the Cleons, and Demerzel into high gear. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Let's break it all down, scene by scene, and then get into what the ending could mean for the finale of Season 3. Digital Seldon versus the Mule. A battle of wits. The episode kicks off with the Mule confronting Digital Seldon. After trading sob stories in the previous episode, the Mule finally gets serious. He wants answers. Specifically, he asks how long it will take him to conquer the entire galaxy. Digital Seldon's response is, if the Mule keeps up his current pace, he really could overtake the Empire itself. That's chilling to hear, especially since we've already seen how quickly his influence spreads. But then comes the sticking point, Gaal. The Mule knows she's a threat, but when he presses for details, Seldon draws a blank. This is where things really get interesting. Digital Seldon is a copy created before Gaal's involvement with the real Hari and the Second Foundation, so he has no knowledge of her secret moves. That puts the Mule at a disadvantage, but also keeps Digital Seldon from being fully useful to Gaal's side. Frustrated, the Mule mocks Digital Seldon as nothing but a program. But Seldon flips the script, literally picking the Mule up with the null field, causing his nose to bleed and slamming him into the ground. It's an incredible power flex, proving that even as a digital construct, Hari Seldon is not to be underestimated. But here's the kicker. He doesn't kill the Mule. Instead, Seldon suggests that the Mule is hiding a secret, and until that secret comes to light, he'll let him live. Now, what could this secret be? The episode drops some big hints toward one of the biggest fan theories, that the Mule we're seeing isn't the real Mule. After this humiliating encounter, the Mule brushes himself off and tells Scarlet he doesn't need to go after Gaal because she's coming to him. He even suggests Pritcher will be the one to lead her straight into his hands. Does this mean Pritcher has been compromised all along? Or is the Mule just playing mind games? For now, we're left guessing. Gaal's next move, preparing for battle. Meanwhile, on Ignis, Gaal is strategizing. She fears that Pritcher has already fallen into the Mule's clutches, and if that's true, the location of the Second Foundation could be compromised. Preem advises caution, but Gaal insists on going to face the Mule herself. Here's the fascinating contrast. Preem points out that Gaal's strength lies in how she leads her Mentalics democratically, sharing thoughts and building unity. The Mule, on the other hand, rules like a tyrant. His power is vast, but also limited by his inability to share or truly inspire loyalty beyond fear. That right there could be his Achilles heel. Before Gaal departs, Preem gives her a crew to back her up. Armed with his advice, she heads straight to New Terminus, fully intent on confronting the Mule before he can consolidate even more power.
Apparently the Mule's people found you just floating around Clarion.
Dawn's return and Bayta's loyalty tested. One of the most shocking twists this week comes from the Foundation's orbiting station above New Terminus. Guess who's alive? Dawn. Yep, against all odds, he survived being ejected into the vacuum of space. How? Well, his suit apparently kept him alive by draining heat and energy from his legs, leaving them horrifically burned. Definitely gruesome, but also a clear case of plot armor at work. Here's where things get even messier. Dawn wakes up to find Bayta caring for him. She explains how the Mule rescued him after finding him drifting near Clarion. But Bayta's behavior is puzzling. She says she doesn't remember much after the vault incident and that she's been instructed to stay by Dawn's side. Is she under the Mule's control, or is she pretending? Maybe even playing double agent? She talks about escaping with Dawn, but we can't tell if that's genuine or part of a larger trap. The Mule clearly wants her close to Dawn, and considering Magnifico's possible connection to both of them, this could be a carefully crafted manipulation. When the Mule arrives, he probes Dawn's mind for any clue about Gaal's location. Dawn doesn't know much, but he stands his ground, refusing to give the Mule anything useful. The Mule begins to torture him, but surprisingly, Bayta steps in, and the Mule listens to her request. Why would a ruthless conqueror suddenly obey Bayta's request? Unless, of course, Bayta has a deeper connection to Magnifico, or the Mule's secret identity. This tiny moment raises huge questions about her true role in all of this.
I am Empire's Pale Reaper, and nothing can change that.
Dusk, Demerzel, and the fate of Trantor. Back on Trantor, the political drama intensifies. Demerzel returns to inform Dusk that Dawn is dead, a claim we now know is false. Dusk is grief-stricken, but quickly pulled into urgent talks with members of the Galactic Council. Their proposal: give Trantor to the Mule. Hand over the beating heart of the Empire in exchange for sparing the rest of the galaxy. On paper, it sounds like a pragmatic strategy, but Dusk won't have it. For him, Trantor is the Empire. If it falls, everything falls. The council members, however, are already leaning towards surrender. They argue that the Mule will be too busy looting Trantor for generations, giving them time to regroup. But the truth is, they're scared. They want to save themselves, even if it means sacrificing the Empire's core. After the meeting, Dusk reveals a hidden ace, the Novacula, a weapon he intended for Dawn, but now wants to use against the Mule. In turn, Demerzel drops her own bombshell. She knows about Gaal, the Second Foundation, and their plan to survive the Empire's collapse. This revelation shocks Dusk, and for us viewers, it draws the lines of conflict even sharper. Later, Demerzel meets with Varellus, but instead of friendship or negotiation, she cuts ties completely. Whether this means Varellus is executed or simply dismissed, one thing is clear: Demerzel is solidifying her stance, and she's not afraid to burn bridges to maintain control.
Everything is going to end. She is the only one who can stop it.
You will be cast into a liquid substrate.
Day's trial, religion, power, and mulching. And now, let's talk about the most jaw-dropping part of the episode. Day's trial in the Mycogen District. Dragged into a courtroom and chained, Dave faces the Inheritors, a religious sect still loyal to robot lore. The Sun Master orchestrates the trial, making Songbird sit beside Day to share his punishment and assigning Oceanglass as the executioner. The Inheritors put on a play recounting the horrors inflicted upon robots, invoking their long-awaited savior, Daniil. That name immediately triggers something in Day. Daniil was what Demerzel once called herself when she wore disguises. Suddenly, Day realizes the prophecy might already be fulfilled, and Demerzel is at its center. Desperate to convince the Inheritors, Day explains that Demerzel is real, that she's the key to their survival. He even taps into the Brazen Head signals, proving that it recognizes Demerzel's presence as part of its hive mind. The crowd begins to stir. Maybe, just maybe, they believe him. But Sunmaster, he's having none of it. If Demerzel is revealed as the true savior, his authority vanishes. So he doubles down, calling Day a liar and dismissing the signs as coincidence. This is where power politics clash with faith. Sunmaster would rather keep his influence than embrace the prophecy he supposedly serves. So despite the murmurs of doubt in the audience, Sunmaster orders the remediation process to begin. Day is cast into the dreaded pit, set to be slowly mulched into nothingness. Will he die? Probably not. His speeds clearly swayed some of the Inheritors, especially Songbird. And as Sunmaster himself admitted, the mulching process is slow. There's time for a rescue, though whether it comes from Songbird, Oceanglass, or even Demerzel remains to be seen.
The Lady Demerzel is a clone!
The ending explained what it all means. So where does episode 8 leave us? The Mule's secret. The hints about Magnifico can't be ignored. Whether he's the real Mule, a decoy, or the true mastermind, there is more to the relationship than we've been told. Digital Seldon knows it, And now, so do we. Gaal's gamble. Gaal is finally taking the fight to the Mule, but with Pritchard potentially compromised and Bayta's loyalties uncertain, she's walking into a minefield. The Empire's crumbling core. Trantor is on the verge of betrayal. The Council's ready to hand it over, Dusk is preparing for war, and Demerzel is playing her own long game. The Empire's survival has never looked shakier. Day's mulching. His trial proves us how dangerous faith and manipulation can be. He uncovered the truth about Demerzel, but will anyone act on it before he's reduced to compost? Episode 8 sets the stage for an explosive finale. We've got personal betrayals, galactic politics, and the looming clash between Gaal and the Mule. And with so many secrets still hidden, the question is, whose plan will succeed and whose empire will burn? Our nerdy thoughts. Foundation Season 3, Episode 8 delivered tension on every front. Emotional, political, and spiritual. From Seldon's smackdown to the Mule to Dave's surreal courtroom drama, this episode reminded us why this show is one of the most ambitious sci-fi sagas on TV. The big mysteries going forward. Is Magnifico the true Mule? Can Gaal exploit the Mule's weaknesses? Will they escape his mulching? And will Demerzel ultimately side with the Empire or her fellow robots? The answers are coming, and if Episode 8 is any indication, they won't come easy.
I think you should leave now.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.